In today's episode, a man jumps off his boat and lands right on top of a group of bull sharks. Click like and subscribe right now. This is the terrifying shark attack on Stanley Mullins, where a group of sharks devoured him. Welcome back. Shark attacks are terrifying incidents that haunts people when they go in the sea. Even though they look like things out of scary movies, they don't happen very often. But there are some situations where shark attacks are more likely to happen. It's possible that some of these things led to this shark attack. It is more likely for attacks to happen in water warmer than 70 degrees Fahrenheit or 21 degrees Celsius. This is likely because warmer water is more appealing to swimmers, so more people go into the sea when it's warmer. Attacks also happen a lot at dawn and dusk when sharks are most busy, and right after noon when most people go swimming. In rough seas or near the surface of the water, they happen more often. Our swimming movements are more erratic at the surface or in turbulent water, and we may be considered distressed prey. A magnet for sharks. It's possible that they will think we are another prey animal, like a sea lion when we are silhouetted against the water. A death in Australia in 1959 seems to have been caused by some of these different reasons for attacks. Stan Mullins and Raphael Bishop, two young guys, went out to sea early in the morning on December 19th. Around that time of year, the water in the Coral Sea near Brisbane is usually between 24 degrees Celsius and 27 degrees Celsius. It was already getting high in the sky. The water was rough. Small waves broke on the surface and stirred up the sand below. Almost no visibility in the water. Stanley and Raphael arrived at Wynham in Moreton Bay, which is just south of Brisbane. There are many islands in the bay, such as North Stradbroke Island, Moreton Island, and the southern Moreton Bay Islands. You can swim, surf, snorkel, and go camping on these islands, among other things. They are a famous spot for both tourists and locals. Dolphins, turtles, and seagulls are just some of the animals that live in the area. Sharks are also out in the water. Since 1962, when records of shark attacks began, there have been 39 attacks off the coast of Brisbane. 6 of them were deadly. Stanley and Raphael got out of their car, dragged their boat across the sand and into the water, where they held it steady against the rough waves. Each of them got in with an oar in their hand. They paddled against the water's rapid motion. They made it past the waves and kept paddling until they were about 1.5 miles from the shore. After that, they stopped. They were crabbing from the boat in the morning. Being out on the water and away from the stress of regular life was something they both liked to do for fun. The rough waves made the boat rock, but the two friends were used to it. The crabs were easy for them to catch and fill their bowls. Things were going well today. The two friends had a good start to the day, and they'd be home in time for breakfast. But something was drawn closer by the sound of their voices, the way the waves hit the sides of the boat, and the smell of the fresh bait. Under the waves, there was a predator close. It was there out of curiosity and always on the lookout for a quick meal. A bull shark circled the water below, which was foggy. It was waiting and watching the little boat that was moving back and forth in the water. It was curious and on the hunt. Stanley dropped his line back into the water, but this time he knocked his oar overboard by accident. It was important for them to get it back to go back to shore. When the water is rough, it would be hard to row with only one stick. It was moving further away from the boat. In an instant, Stanley took off his shirt and dove into the water. He swam a short distance and grabbed the oar. The salt spray hit him in the face and the water hurt his eyes. He went around and came back to the boat. To get back to the boat, he pushed the oar along in front of him as it drifted on the water. Raphael kept his line hanging over the side of the boat. Soon, his friend would be back on board. He was only a few feet from the boat when he felt a strong pull on his legs. He cried out, a heart-wrenching scream. Raphael jumped across the boat very quickly. It was too late when he leaned over to help his friend. Stanley was no longer there. He was gone in an instant, down below the ocean's surface. He was there 1 second and gone the next. Raphael looked everywhere for his friend quickly. He couldn't find him anywhere. There was no blood, just water that didn't bubble, ripple, splash, or thrash. He was only able to let out one scream before he went under fully and was never seen alive again. Raphael got back to land after a long search for Stanley. He was shocked, heartbroken, and scared. He told the police what happened when he called them. It was a puzzle. Even though a shark was thought to be involved, some officials said it could have been heart failure or cramps since no shark had been seen. There wasn't a fight, which is what usually happens when a shark strikes. It could have been such a big shark that it almost swallowed him whole. Maybe it pulled him under so fast that there was no sign of it, or maybe more than one shark pulled him down. There were questions for his family and friends. There would be proof soon, but it might bring up more questions than solutions. Just off the shores of Wynnum, 3 days after he went missing, Desmond Burks was fishing for a living. It caught his attention that Stanley had gone missing while he was fishing in almost the same spot. There was something horrible and frightening in the water that he saw. As they got closer, they saw that it was the body of a young guy, Stanley's body. Desmond got him on board and told the authorities what he had found. The man, who was 29, was missing an arm. On different parts of his body, he had bite marks that looked like they were from sharks. When his body was checked by doctors, however, it was thought that he'd been attacked more than once. Different sharks made different bite marks on his body. Stanley had been killed by a pack of sharks. The local newspapers seemed to agree when they wrote about how Stanley Mullins, a father of 5, was torn apart by a group of bull sharks while swimming out to sea. It was a terrible event. He was taken away when he was so young, leaving a young family behind. There were now 5 kids without their dad. He may have been killed by more than one shark, but is that likely? There had to be some proof during the attack, right? Raphael would have seen something moving in the water if there were more than one shark in the area. Had he really dove right into a group of sharks to get his oar back without realizing it? Because they are violent and can swim in both salt and fresh water, bull sharks are thought to be very dangerous to people. They can go up rivers and can be found near marshes and shallow coastal waters, which are places that people often go. The females are bigger than the boys. They can get up to 8 feet long and 130 kilograms in weight. On the other hand, bull sharks hunt alone most of the time and only sometimes pair up to track food. At certain times of the year, when there are lots of fish in a small area, several sharks may gather to eat. During this feeding rush, several individuals may hunt together. This could have been the case with Stanley. No one knows for sure what happened to Stanley. The most likely thing that happened was that a big shark caught him off guard and took him below the water without a fight. It's possible that other sharks snacked on his body before the fishers found it. Even though horrible things happen, like when Stanley Mullins was attacked by a shark, the chances of being attacked by one are as low as 1 in 3 billion. Even though these attacks are very uncommon, it doesn't matter how uncommon they are if they happen to you. You will still be fighting for your life in the jaws of one of nature's most dangerous and powerful predators, hoping that you make it through and don't meet your horrifying end.